what's your experience with incompatibilities in relationships? Is it even real? Does it exist?
It definitely does exist, no matter how much in every new relationship you're going to convince yourself that it doesn't. And I think, along with like all of the other ways in which we get kind of more wise and enlightened as the course of our lives go on and our relationships go on over the course of our lives, but we still have to learn the same lessons over and over again in each new relationship. You know, you might learn them faster, you might learn them more easily, but in any new relationship, all you're going to see when you're first falling in love with a person is everything that you have in common with them. And it's going to take time to notice that there are genuine incompatibilities, and an even kind of deeper level, I think, of spiritual and emotional digging that a lot of us have not been trained to do and don't regularly do, to recognize that those incompatibilities aren't necessarily flaws in either you or the other person. They're just incrossable chasms. And I think for many of us, our tendency is to, when we experience incompatibility, because we experience it often before we recognize it, we have a tendency to try and fix it, either fix ourselves or fix them. And this article and this relationship that I was writing about in that article, I definitely tried to fix him without recognizing that there was actually nothing wrong with him, that it was just, or that the things that he wanted to change about himself maybe weren't things I wanted to change about him, and vice versa. And that even our notion of what was wrong with the relationship had incompatibilities within it. And you start experiencing these differences and these spaces where you and this other person do not make any sense to each other. And you just don't understand how they could feel the way they feel, or want what they want, or think what they think. And it can be incredibly painful and alienating, especially like me, when you jump in really intensely to relationships. But when you get into any kind of relationship, you've sort of allowed that person to be how you get a lot of your needs met. And when they stop meeting those needs, especially that need for connection, and you start feeling that alienation and isolation, it can be really difficult to figure out what to do. And I think one of the first things, we go through a kind of a grief process with it. You know, we start often by denying the existence of the incompatibility and thinking, oh, well, this just has to do with, one of the biggest ones, like, this just has to do with their childhood trauma. And once they fixed that and moved on from it, we will no longer have this incompatibility. Or this incompatibility is coming from my own issue that I know I have and I need to resolve. And once I've resolved that, and the reality is that maybe you will resolve that issue. Maybe they will resolve that trauma, but that doesn't change it, the reality that the incompatibility is here now, and that it's causing issues in your relationship now, and it needs to be understood and allowed now.